Hey y'all, it is December 7th today. I woke up, I just got back pretty late last night from Detroit, and I woke up feeling pretty shitty. I don't know, what it is, but, I've been feeling, body aches, some, throat pain, and, you can hear the congestion and just sort of feeling pretty tired. I think it's probably just some stupid virus that I caught while I was on the plane. But that means that I was actually planning on driving up to Steamboat today and then spending 4 days skiing up there, but I don't know if I'll actually be able to do that because I've just been feeling pretty terrible. So right now I am headed to Joann's Fabrics to grab some supplies for ornaments that I'm making for people, and also so that I can finish up some other presents, and then maybe doing one other errand. We'll just kind of see how it goes. So yeah, sorry today's gonna be pretty boring, but such is life. Okay, so the lighting is really bad, but I just left Joann's and I'm really excited because I got the stuff to make some really awesome Christmas tree ornaments with Scotia, and I think she's really gonna love it. We're going over to Matt and Becca's house tonight to decorate the Christmas tree and have dinner and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that Scotia will want to make these awesome ornaments with me so that she can give them away to people for Christmas. Also, because I feel like everybody has that really ugly Christmas present or Christmas ornament that they made when they were 2, but that their mom always still puts on the Christmas tree. So I'm just trying to start that tradition in this family as well. Yeah.
Taking a Vlogmas?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm making you chicken soup because you're sick.
He's the best husband in the world.
Got the chicken and the broth, and I'm going to make some gravy. It's going to be a full-on feast.
Yum. I am literally the worst human being on the planet when I'm sick. And I really don't like to have to do anything, and I kind of like to be waited on.
And who would wait on you? Him and
so Sean is the best husband on the planet, and he just takes care of me. Even though I don't take care of him when he's sick because I don't like to take care of sick people, which is ironic because I'm gonna be a doctor. And Sean, what's gonna happen to your dad's sweater today?
You're gonna block and tackle.
He said it right earlier. What is? Come on.
You're gonna tackle it? You're gonna block it so it stretches to the right size.
Yeah. That's it. Just sort of doing this thing. All right, I just wanted to check in because it's been a few days since I have vlogged anything. I got really, really sick, and so I just haven't really been in the mood to video, but wanted to go over a few things that I've been crafting and working on over the last couple days. So the first big thing is that I finished my Christmassy Soldotna crop. I changed this pattern a little bit. So one thing that I did is I made it longer. I did 9 repeats of the body, and then I also added 2.5 repeats of the sort of flea bite pattern to the arms, and then decided to do the same pattern at the end, and then just put on some 2x2 ribbing. This, I was so excited to finish it. I'm gonna block it today so that when I get back from my trip to Rochester, I can wear it for the rest of December. So I'm really, really happy with it. This is knit out of Knit Picks Gloss DK, and then also out of some Homespun House yarn. So the speckled yarn that you see, which I've already talked about, is a Homespun House. This one is called Holly Jolly Christmas, and then the white speckled one is called Home for the Holiday, or sorry, it's called Trim the Tree. And I have them right here. So this one is Holly Jolly Christmas. Sorry, the lighting's bad, but it's the end of the day. And this one is Trim the Tree. I'm trying to decide what I want to do out of the rest of these. They are like very festive, and so part of me wants to make them into some Christmas ornaments or something like that, but I also just find Christmas ornaments to be so fiddly that I don't really want to work on them right now. But I'm really, really excited about it. I am just about to block it so that I can wear it. Yay! I really like this part of it. I feel like it reminds me of fairy lights. Um, and I really like how it's kind of random, but also like that it's not like bam in your face Christmas, because I think I can get away with wearing this throughout most of the winter. But it is definitely festive and is mostly Christmas color, so maybe not. I don't know. And then the other thing that I have been working on is this. I'm trying to make presents for all the members of my family for Christmas. And my sister-in-law, who I'm really close with, is also a really big Harry Potter fan, and she does a lot of reading. So I made her this bookmark. And before I made it, I embroidered this flying key. So it's kind of hard to see. But the wings continue on the back. And then I decided to fill in the key and put some paint on it to make it kind of look like it was magical. I really liked how this turned out. I think it's really pretty. I think that she'll be really excited about it just because her and I talk about Harry Potter all the time. And I'm also giving her a pair of socks because she has feet that are slightly smaller than mine, and I knit a pair of socks that were too small. So she doesn't have to know that. But yeah. The next thing that I started is I started the Ripple Crop Top by Jessie May. I am knitting it out of this beautiful yarn that my mom got me. My mom, while she was in Paris, it's La Bien-Aimée and their single merino base, and it's the rust colorway. So I have both of these out because I'm alternating. Um, and here is how far I am. Wow, it's like an inch of the ribbing. But I'm actually knitting this. I cast this on mostly so that I would have knitting to work on when I was in Rochester. I'm flying to Rochester for another interview tomorrow. And it's going to be a really long day, like on a plane. Luckily, I don't think it takes a lot of energy to be on a plane, so I'm literally just going to be like sitting down and knitting all day. And then I get into Rochester at like 2 p.m. And normally I like to go check out the city a little bit, but I think with how sick I am that there's a really good chance that I'm just going to want to like do nothing. So I might bring one more knitting project than just this to knit on, but yeah, I think it's like really, really beautiful. It's a really straightforward pattern. Hopefully, it won't take me very long because there's not much time until Christmas. Um, and I also still have to finish Sean's sweater, so I'm just kind of plugging along at that. But I'm really liking it. It's like, even though it's very mindless because it's just sort of ribbing, it's really interesting to knit on because the color of the La Bien-Aimée yarn is just like absolutely beautiful. Um, I just heard that my water went out, so I'm heating up water for tea and I can hear that it just went off. So I'm gonna go grab that tea and then I'll be right back. Thanks. Um, I'm back with my tea. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was my Northeasterly blanket. So I am going to knit most of the minis that I have been showing you that I opened from the Hugh Loco Harry Potter Advent Calendar into a shawl. But it's, I think, going to be my New Year's Eve cast on. So I'm going to wait until I have all of the different colors and then I'm going to lay them all out. And I've calculated for the pattern that I'm doing that I need exactly 13 grams of each one. So I'm going to lay them all out and then decide how I want my fade to go and then start the cast on from there. But I got 20-gram mini skeins, and so for the other 10 or so, the other 7 grams, I am knitting them into my Northeasterly blanket. So I thought I would just go over this because it's been a really long time since I've talked about this sweater. Most of this is scraps, but some of it are minis that I've specifically bought for this. I'm calling it my Molly Weasley scrap blanket just because I think it's something that she would probably have in the burrow, just this like crazy scrap blanket. But I'm having a lot of fun each day putting in squares. I actually wasn't, putting in the strips. At first I wasn't doing this, and so there was one day where I did like 8 of them, but it was like one of the days where I felt the most sick, and so I actually think it was really good because it's just kind of a mindless pattern, but it's really rewarding because you're getting to see new colors. So the first one I'll start with is actually not from my advent calendar. This is a Knitted Wit mini, and this is the Bird Nerd one. And I really like it, obviously, because I'm a Ravenclaw. And I think I already said this in a previous episode, but part of the reason why I also really like this is it's the true book Ravenclaw colors. So it's the bronze and the blue, which I'm a movie fan also, but I'm a book fan first. And so I really like when they stay true to the books. Okay, so this was the first day, and I thought that because I also really love Harry Potter that it would be fun for me to go through and say kind of why the things that that they chose to name them are so important. So the first day is this beautiful sort of gray, blue, black one. And this one is called Expecto Patronum. So the Patronus charm makes Dementors go away, essentially. And it's really important because Dementors just suck all of the happiness out of the world, and they also have the potential to kill by sort of sucking your soul out of you. So I guess they don't kill you; you're sort of alive, but you're just a shell of yourself, which isn't really a life. And so the Expecto Patronum is the charm that Harry learns in his third year to protect himself from Dementors who are particularly drawn to him. And I think they're particularly drawn to him because part of himself is Voldemort, so he has that Horcrux within him, and I think the Dementors are really drawn to that. Or maybe it's because they are ultimately on the side of Voldemort, the Dementors, and so maybe they want to hurt Harry. But he also ends up using this to protect everybody, to protect him and Sirius when the Dementors are trying to perform the kiss on Sirius Black in the third book. My Patronus, I think I've already said this, is a black swan. I don't know. Sometimes I think that's cool, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know, it's just a bird. But the next one is this really great silver stellina one that's kind of mauve with like purples and blues and pinks and greens. And this one is called a Pisky. A Pisky is a charm that is used to fix sort of minor injuries. So it's a healing charm. You see it in the books with Tonks, who is fixing Harry's nose after it gets broken in the 6th book when Malfoy beats him up on the train after he's snuck into the Slytherin carts. And that was hot. And so yeah, Tonks uses this to fix his broken nose. I think like it has also been used to fix like lips and stuff like that. This is actually a difference between the movies and the books. In the books, Tonks finds Harry and performs the Pisky charm to fix his nose, and in the movies, Luna Lovegood finds him and does the charm. The next one, so day 3, this is the Gryffindor one. Obviously, this is one of the 4 houses of Hogwarts, and it is important because many of our favorite characters are in Gryffindor. It's really a story that's written from the Gryffindor's point of view, considering Dumbledore, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Neville. All of those folks are from Gryffindor. So obviously it's a really important house. I think all of the houses have positives and negatives. But, the next one is called Snape. So this is a really beautiful sort of dark blue with greens and grays. And Snape is a really interesting character. He's part of Slytherin House. He's the head of Slytherin House when Harry is there, and the Potions Master later becomes the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and then the headmaster of Hogwarts. He is a very complicated character. I would say that he is kind of a total asshole, like at baseline, but he has a lot of reasons to be. He doesn't have a lot of happiness in his life, and part of that he did to himself because he kind of fell into the wrong crowd, and part of that was done to him. So he's a really complicated character, and I think that in one of my episodes I'll definitely have to do a deep dive with him. But I mean, ultimately he is good, but I think he's a very flawed person. And I think that he takes out a lot of his anxiety, or sort of anger and fear and unhappiness out on Harry because he looks so much like James, and James was so awful to him. But he ultimately protects him and becomes a spy for him, and so he's a complicated character, but I think that this is a beautiful colorway. The next one, so December 5th was the Elder Wand. So the Elder Wand is one of the one of the 3 Deathly Hallows. It is the Wand of Destiny, the Elder Wand. It's the most powerful wand in the world. It has to be one. in order for it to find a new master. It, for most of the movies and books, is under the control of Albus Dumbledore, and then later goes under the control of Draco Malfoy in the end of the 6th book, and then to Harry in the middle of the 7th book, and is ultimately allows Harry to be the Master of Death and have the 3 Deathly Hallows, so the Cloak of Invisibility, the Resurrection Stone, and the Elder Wand. I really liked this, mainly because it really reminds me of Albus Dumbledore. It's a light blue color that has some hints of like purple speckling, and it's just really beautiful. The next one is this. It's pink with some like dark black and light pink speckles, and it's a Stellina base, which is hard to see at the end of the day without any natural light. And this one is called Umbridge. Umbridge is a character that we first meet in the 5th book, when she becomes the High Inquisitor of Hogwarts. She is kind of in the Minister of Magic's back pocket. She has a lot of really horrible philosophies about people who are not purebloods, even though she herself is not a pureblood. She's generally a horrible, horrible person. And I actually have another Umbridge one, which is this one. So 2 Umbridge dedicated colorways, and I think that they've both been dedicated to her because people hate her so much that it's like fun to have a villain that you can just hate. Which, I mean, you can hate Voldemort, but he's more complicated than Dolores. Anyway, it might have been called Dolores. I can't remember if it was called Dolores or Umbridge, but the next one is this really sort of minty green color that has lots of white and yellow speckling, and that one is called Felix Felicis. It's called Liquid Luck, which is Felix Felicis. This is a potion that Harry wins in his 6th year when Professor Slughorn is the potion's master, and is really important for Harry finding out the importance of the Horcruxes and finding out that there are 7 Horcruxes. At that point, they know that he made Horcruxes, or at least Dumbledore knows that he made Horcruxes, but he doesn't know how many he made. And so Harry ends up taking the Felix Felicis, about just part of it. He just takes a sip of it in order to get that information from Slughorn. I think I've talked about it because it's also on the day that Aragog dies, on the day that they're burying Aragog. It's also important because he leaves the rest of the Felix Felicis for the people in Gryffindor, so mainly for Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Neville, so that they can take it in case anything bad happens. And they do end up taking it, and they do say that, they felt like all of the spells were just missing them. And so, very, very important. The next one, which was really exciting for me, because at first I thought that Gryffindor was going to be the only house, but it makes sense that they're doing all of the houses. The next one is Hufflepuff. So as you can imagine, it's yellow with speckles of black and orange. For the Badgers, it's funny because while I was at my last interview, someone said, I think because I can be very outgoing at interviews, just because I'm, trying to make people love me. Someone's like, you must be a Hufflepuff. And it was funny because I have nothing against Hufflepuff, but I think if anyone says that I should be in another house than I am, it just, I have a lot of loyalty to Ravenclaw. And so it's funny, even one time I took the Pottermore quiz after I'd taken a couple times and been sorted in a Ravenclaw house, and it told me that I was Gryffindor, which I feel like most people want to be Gryffindor, and I was like, no, I am not fucking Gryffindor, no. But Hufflepuff is a great house. I'll take the lot and treat them all the same. So they are really about
honesty and loyalty and friendship, and that's a beautiful thing. And some famous characters that we know, obviously Cedric Diggory was a Hufflepuff. May he rest in peace. And so was Tonks. May she rest in peace. So it's a great house that produced some really amazing wizards. Famously, Hufflepuff House is the only house that has never produced a dark wizard, which I think is interesting. The next one, yesterday's, was this really beautiful purple one with speckles of blues, and this is The Tales of Beetle the Bard. And that is important. So essentially it's a children's book. I think of it kind of like The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, or maybe something even different than that, because not all of the tales are in the same universe. But it's essentially a compilation of children's tales into one book. And there are a bunch of different tales in it, and all of the kids who are in wizarding families know about all of the stories that are in it. Obviously, Hermione and Harry don't know any of the stories because they didn't grow up in wizarding families. But one of the most important stories in that, for our purposes, is the Deathly Hallows, or I think it's called The Tale of the Three Brothers. So it's the tale about how the three brothers encountered death, and one wanted to bring back their lost love, and that was the resurrection stone, but she wasn't the same, and he ended up hanging himself, and they both died. And then the second one was the Elder Wand, someone who wanted, a powerful wand to fight off death. And then he ended up getting killed, and the wand was taken from him, and it sort of caused a lot of problems down the line. And then the third brother wanted to sort of hide from death and go about his life until he was ready to die, and he was given the Cloak of Invisibility, which was later passed down on to Harry. And I think that something that we don't think about often is that that from that that Harry and Voldemort were related, actually, probably like very distant cousins, like multiple times removed, but because Voldemort's family was passed down the Resurrection Stone, which he then made into a Horcrux, which then Albus Dumbledore found. He put on the ring. He wanted to bring back his sister, Ariana, but that ended up being his sort of downfall, and he put it into the snitch for Harry so that he could hopefully become the Master of Death, which he did end up doing. And so the Resurrection Stone was passed down in Voldemort's family, and in Harry's family, they were also descendants of the Peverell brothers. And his family, the Cloak of Invisibility was passed down. So, yeah. The Tales of Beetle the Bard. And then the last one, the one from today, is this one here, and it is called The Vanishing Cabinet. So the Vanishing Cabinet is really important in the in the sixth book, because that is how Draco Malfoy is able to help Death Eaters into Hogwarts, and ultimately is the time at which Albus is forced to die, only very slightly prematurely. He was sort of dying already, but yeah. So the Vanishing Cabinet is a beautiful colorway that's sort of blues and greens and yellows, and I think you can see from this, obviously, I wanted to do this in the order that I actually opened them, so the order of the Advent, but I think with some rearranging, it actually will turn into a really beautiful sort of rainbow fade that will be very reminiscent of Hogwarts and the Harry Potter universe. And I love Harry Potter. I think that, it's had a really lasting impact on me, and so I'm really excited that I get to bring it with me everywhere I go, with all of the knitted objects that I'm wearing. Right now I'm wearing one of my new favorite shawls, the Quibbler. I've been wearing this a lot because if I want to wear it kind of bandana style, I just sort of fold it over and wear it around my neck. But then if I'm in the mood to like wrap up and have a blanket, then I can do that too. So I'm definitely gonna bring it on the plane tomorrow because it's really like comfortable. Um, and I'll also bring my other my my other stuff on the plane. Hopefully, I'll feel a little bit better and we'll actually be able to explore Rochester a little bit. I know there's a yarn store that I really want to go to there, um, but we'll just see what kind of energy I have. So yeah, I have been taking some footage over the last couple days, so I'm gonna insert that now. But this will be a long one because it'll be a compilation of all the stuff I've been doing over the last several days. But one last thing, I just wanted to, so I know I already showed this, but I forgot to mention that I am calling it the Yule Ball Soldotna. So Yule Ball is what happens over the sort of Christmas holiday at Hogwarts in the fourth year when the students from Beauxbaton and Durmstrang are there. And I just felt like it really reminded me of Yule Ball. So that's what this is. So anyway, I hope that you're having a good day, Mom, since I know that you're like the only one who watches this. But anyway, thanks for joining. I hope that everybody is having just a wonderful festive season.